sweet people. Today I am here to talk to you guys, as you can tell by the title of this video, about free or low cost ways to add whimsy to your life. The reason I want to talk about this today is because I'm sure you guys have seen whimsy is a trending topic right now. As a concept, whimsy has been circulating the internet recently. Which I love because whimsy is one of the most driving forces in my life and arguably has kept me alive at times. Something I don't love to see is the way that whimsy is being commodified and being fed into like hyper consumerism. When I'm talking about whimsy, it's not something you can just add to an Amazon storefront. You know what I mean? I have a little list with me and I'm gonna go through these things with you guys. Is this absolutely everything I could have put in this video? No. So if you really wanna see a part 2, I probably could scrap together some things for a part 2. Just let me know. But without further ado, let's get going. The first thing is making your little moments big moments. I also like to call this Ghibli core. Because this, I think, is one of the best things about Studio Ghibli movies. They make these tiny little mundane details and moments of life into these magical moments. And that's something I think we can definitely pull into our day-to-day to make our lives more whimsical, more romanticized, and just feel a little bit like a warm hug, you know? Things that I could use as examples might be making your coffee in the morning, right? But as you're making your coffee, put it in a mug that you love, right? Smell the coffee as it's coming out of the coffee machine. You know, when you're stirring it, really like stir your intentions into it. You can apply that to a lot of different areas of life. That's just like one example. Second is spending time outside. Now, this could very well just be more of like a personal thing. Spending time outside is crucial for me and my mental health, which has been rough, you know, because it feels like the night circle of hell outside. But I'm doing what I can to get outside when I can. It could be going to the park. It could be literally just stepping outside into your yard or walking on the sidewalk around your apartment, anything like that. Number 3, add greenery into your space. My favorite way to do this is I pick up my prescriptions at Publix. Publix also has a really fantastic flower section where you can get really beautiful flowers for not super expensive. It's like 3 bunches of flowers for $12 at Publix. And I like to make my own little flower arrangements for the season or just whatever I'm feeling. And having flowers in the house or house plants, anything like that, is just really helpful, I think, in making things feel a little bit more romanticized, a little bit more magical. Next one is getting crafty. Doing lots of hobbies, arts and crafts, things like that. Nice ways to have fun and add magic into your life, not to mention how much it helps your mental health. My favorite lowest effort one is coloring. Sewing is a really great one. Scrapbooking, junk journaling, literally anything that's just going to keep you from doom scrolling on your phone. Because if there's one thing that is your enemy when creating a magical, whimsical life, is doom scrolling. Okay? I've made my point. Next is make little traditions. So what I mean by this, it can literally be anything. Some examples I can think of are, if you see it's 11:11, make a wish. That's a really typical, easy one. After dinner, every night, have a hot cup of coffee and a chocolate. One of my favorites. On Sundays, make pancakes for yourself and or your family. So many cool little traditions that you can do. And really, the world is your oyster when we think about this one. There are so many freaking options and ways you can apply this to your life and your specific tastes. Next is making playlists that curate the vibe. I am very good at this. The ones that to me specifically scream whimsical and fun and magical are I'm a Ghibli character, which has a lot of Ghibli movie music and like similar stuff. She's a fairy. obviously very twinkly, magical, fairy vibes. My Ren Fair playlist is really fun. I think they really help you get into what activity you're doing and what feeling you want to curate, you know? Next up is gonna be a pretty popular one that most people, especially if you're neurodivergent, already do, and that's ambient lighting. No big light, only small light. No big I love doing this, especially as I'm winding down for the night. Turn off all the big lights and only turn on lamps. And I have this really cool, let's see if I can scoot my tripod over. This little lamp right here. I got this lamp at TJ Maxx for like 12 bucks. I think it was on clearance maybe. It was 12 bucks. And the light bulb that I have in here is a flickering one. So it looks like a fire. The best thing I've done to curate a whimsical vibe in my bedroom. I really love the projecting lights too, where you can like project stars and galaxies and stuff on your ceiling and on your walls. That's a vibe. What the heck does this say? Oh. When you can't even read your own handwriting. It's so bad. I literally just jotted this stuff down. Next one is giving yourself little quests that tie to whatever season you're in. So whatever season you're in, like mold your quests around that. So for instance, fall is coming up. My favorite things to do for fall are going to the library or the bookstore, making a point to go out and sit in a cafe and have a little warm coffee with your earbuds in, listening to like some fall music, going to a pumpkin patch. For spring and summer, some things that may be fun are like going to the farmer's market, going to a creek, dipping your toes in, looking for little rocks and pebbles, things like that. Doing scavenger hunts could be super fun. You could really tailor these things to your tastes and whatever season you're in at the moment. Just super broad category is reading. Also be applied in a lot of different ways. This could apply to places you can go, like we just said, the library. You could go and make a day of going to free little libraries. That's one of my absolute favorite free / super low cost things to do when I need alone time, is to go get a little treat, make maybe a little pastry or like a little snack from a drive-through, fun little beverage, and drive around your area. There is an app and a website where you can look at maps of the free little libraries around you. And you can just like make a little adventure of going around to the free little libraries with your little treat. Make sure you bring a little bag of books that you want to get rid of, and trade them out and get some new things and get the dopamine hit of getting new things without actually spending a ton of money. You know what I mean? One of my favorite genres to read, specifically to curate a whimsical vibe, is cozy fantasy. It's quickly become one of my favorite genres. I feel like fantasy in general could also work, but cozy fantasy specifically feels very cozy, of course, from the name. Feels very whimsical and magical because there's generally pretty low stakes. It's not this huge involved conflict most of the time. And it just focuses on the little details. Again, going back to the Ghibli core stuff, making the little moments big moments. It talks a lot about the smells. It's very descriptive. Talks a lot about the smells of things. Talks a lot about the textures. Just very descriptive of what's going on around. And I feel like that is a super important element of the concept of whimsy. Something else that I've really started doing more recently is collecting physical media. This is important for a few reasons. First of all, obviously, it has a whimsical vibe to it. And for me, pretty nostalgic. Maybe this depends on also the generation that you grew up in. But for me, collecting like DVDs and CDs is very nostalgic for me, which feels very whimsical. I love collecting like the movies I loved as a kid and then showing them to Archer or just watching them myself. Something I've really been wanting to find at the thrift is a good VHS player. A TV with a built-in VHS player I would love that. But I really want to start collecting VHS tapes too. I think that just feels super nostalgic to me. Makes a whole ritual out of consuming media instead of just clicking and streaming or doom scrolling. You know what I mean? You can make this super budget friendly by going to the thrift store. I've seen so many good CDs, DVDs, books, etc. at thrift stores and secondhand stores, flea markets, what have you. Also, hosting a little swap with your friends could be really fun. Also, I just think that it's super important to collect things that you own right now. Our society is in end stage capitalism. Not to get super unwhimsical with it, but in my opinion, whimsy is a form of resistance. And I think it's worth noting that, and collecting physical media, banned books, movies, CDs, things of that nature, collecting those things and owning them is also a form of resistance. Because then you own those things. If those are taken away at some point from streaming platforms or not allowed to be, given out in the libraries, hoping not, but you own those things, which I think is like a huge act of resistance also. So next one, what number is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's number 11. Snail mail. Something that I've really enjoyed doing the past year or two is sending actual physical mail to my friends. Really fun letters with stickers and little tea bags in there, and make the letters really fun to look at. It's a super low cost to add some whimsy and magic into your life. I cannot tell you how much I look forward to getting something from one of my friends in the mail. It literally makes my entire week. I love it. Something super fun that I did with my sister-in-law for a bit was we wrote letters back and forth. And we wrote them as if we were like in medieval times. Like we spoke Old English as best we could in these letters, which was super fun and I think whimsical. And you can keep those things forever, Anyway, next one, I believe number 12, is utilize scents. Now, a lot of these are going to intertwine and feed into each other. Scent for me, I think this is also a huge personal thing, but I think a lot of people would agree with me. Scent is super powerful for cultivating a vibe, I love doing this with incense, with fragrances like perfumes, and body sprays, candles. Something I've been really loving is our wax warmer because we have a toddler and he doesn't know fire is dangerous yet. And also really grounding for me as well. Next one is little treats. You had to know this was coming. I like to have a little treat pretty much every night. You don't have to have this crazy confectionery masterpiece every night, but just having some sort of little treat, right? I know earlier we talked about the making little moments big moments, and the coffee and the piece of chocolate. That would be a good one for a little treat that isn't this huge extravagant thing and that is pretty accessible. You could also make a little mug cake. You could also get little Debbie's from the gas station. You could really make anything you want your little treat. If you're more of a salty person, not me. But if you're more of a salty person, you could cater it more to your taste in that sense of making a little savory snack plate, maybe a mini charcuterie or something. Yeah, little treats. This one also I feel is really good in tandem with the next one, which is number 14, which is celebrate your little wins. I love this. It helps you to step back a little bit and see the things that you do as important, even if they don't look really big. I love, like I said, pairing this with the one before from the little treats. I love baking a cake and putting candles on it, or, writing something on it. So whenever I have a little milestone, I really love incorporating that. And whenever I feel especially if you have struggled with mental illness, or if you're neurodivergent or chronically ill, anything that would make life a little bit more difficult and doing like the little daily monotonous things that most people would consider no-brainers, for you they're a little more difficult. I think that it's really good for you to celebrate those things, even if most other people wouldn't understand why you're doing it, because it just helps put things into perspective for yourself and remind yourself like, hey, this is something to celebrate. This is a win. And it really helps me turn something like shame from it taking so much effort and time and like determination to do these little tasks like going to the post office, or going and printing something out, or, you know, whatever it may be, getting groceries. It turns those little things that are very easy for me to feel shame about because it just takes me longer to do them. I feel worse after doing them. All these things, it takes something that can be shameful and turns it into something that you can feel pride about, and something that kind of shifts into gratitude. So last one is let your inner child take the wheel. This is one of my favorite tips on this list. It's also super broad, but I'm going to give you some examples about having a child. Because one of the biggest benefits that has brought into my life is it's really helped me see the world with a sense of wonder again. Like blowing bubbles is like a really good example of letting your inner child take the wheel, using sidewalk chalk, do things like that. Play, please, please play. That's really like most of what this tip consists of, is just let yourself play. Let yourself play. Get back into interests that you had when you were younger. A big one for me recently, just like a little example to give you, I was obsessed with fairies and like little creatures when I was a kid. And as an adult, I've really started to embrace and love and incorporate fairies and borrowers. It's a way that I have really kind of held my inner child by the hand and let her kind of walk me through. But I feel like you could really incorporate so many things into this one. It's so broad. Like the way I'm dressed today feels very much like my inner child picked out my outfit. When I saw this shirt, let me just show you the full thing because it's so cute. When I first saw this shirt, I said, that's too busy. Like that, people are gonna think that I look really childish in that. Who cares? I loved it. Something in me was obsessed with this shirt, so I got it. And I have on like really fun accessories. Anywho, that's all I have for you today. I hope this wasn't too all over the place. I kind of feel like it is. I feel like the tips are really varying and like they're very specific or very broad and they feed into each other and weave into each other. I hope it's not too scatterbrained to like understand what I was getting at. Again, if you want a part 2, I could probably make a part 2 because I think I have plenty of other ideas on things to apply to this as well and ways to make your life more whimsical. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this, please give it a like, a thumbs up. Throw me a comment if you have a way that you like to incorporate whimsy and magic into your day today that I didn't talk about. I would love to learn more. Love to learn more. If you like these kinds of videos, maybe think about hitting the subscribe button and sharing this with your friends. I hope you all have a wonderful, beautiful day, and I will talk to you later. Bye.